Inflation in July slowed down to 2.4% from 2.7% last month. The PSA is breaking down the numbers for us live in Quezon City. Let's take a listen.
The main driver in the downward trend of inflation in July 2019 was food and non-alcoholic beverages. Specifically, the food groups primarily contributed to the downward trend of inflation in July 2019. We have rice, negative 2.9% in July from negative 1.7% in June. Corn, negative 3.0% from negative 4.0%. Oils and fats, 2.5% from 2.9%. Vegetables, 3.4% from 9.5%. Sugar, jam, chocolate, honey, and confectionery, negative 1.4% from 2.2%. And other food products, 6.7% from 7.3%. The slowdown in the July 2019 inflation was also brought about by housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels. Particularly, the items that contributed to the slower inflation in July were electricity, negative 0.5% from 2.1%, LPG, negative 5.9% from 0.2%, firewood, 6.3% from 7.2%, and charcoal, 4.7% from 5.6%. Transport also contributed to the downward trend of the July 2019 inflation. The items that primarily contributed to the slower inflation in July 2019 were petroleum and fuels for personal transport equipment, negative 2.8% from negative 4.1%. Jeepney fare, 2.1% from 6.0%. And domestic airfare, negative 11.5% from negative 9.7%. A downward trend in the inflation of the National Capital Region was likewise posted in July as it recorded a slower annual increase of 2.3%. Its annual rate was observed at 3.0% in June 2019 and 6.5% in July 2018. Following the same trend as the national level and the National Capital Region, inflation in areas outside the National Capital Region decelerated further to 2.4% in July 2019. Inflation in June 2018 was higher at 2.6%, and in July last year, 2018, 5.5%. The highest annual rate among the regions in areas outside the National Capital Region remained in Mimaropa region at 4.9% in July 2019. This was slightly lower than its annual rate in June 2019 at 5.2%. The lowest inflation among the regions in areas outside the National Capital Region was recorded in Region 7, Central Visayas, at 1.1%. This was the same rate observed last month in June 2019. For Mimaropa, among the 11 major commodity groups, the top contributor to the overall inflation of Mimaropa region were the following: food and non-alcoholic beverages, 2.6% inflation and 25.1% share. Housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels, 6.5% inflation and 24.8% share. Restaurant and miscellaneous goods and services, 7.3% inflation and 13.3% share. Alcoholic beverages and tobacco, 28.9% inflation and 12% share. And transport, 5.5% inflation and 9.5% share. Comparing with our annual rates in June, inflation in 9 regions in areas outside the National Capital Region decelerated in July 2019. The other 5 regions registered higher annual markups in July 2019, while 2 regions, Region 7, Central Visayas, and Region 8, Eastern Visayas, retained their June 2019 annual rates. At the national level, the seasonally adjusted consumer price index for all items inched up by 0.2% in July 2019 from 0.1% in June 2019. Higher monthly increases were noticed in the indices of the following commodity groups: alcoholic beverages and tobacco, 0.8%, clothing and footwear, 0.4%, furnishing, household equipment, and routine maintenance of the house, 0.3%, health, 0.4%, and education, 2.1%. The index of food and non-alcoholic beverages again registered a zero growth in July 2019. Moreover, movements in the index of recreation and culture remained at 0.1%, and restaurant and miscellaneous goods and services at 0.3%. The index of housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels also registered a zero growth in July 2019. This ends my presentation on the inflation for July 2019. I enjoin all of you to participate as an announcement in the upcoming 2020 Census of Population and Housing. This is a very important exercise for the country and for the Philippine Statistics Authority. We will conduct this in May 2020, and we hope that you will welcome our data collectors. The Philippine Statistics Authority appreciates your presence in the July 2019 inflation press briefing. And we look forward to meeting you again on September 5, 2019, when we report the inflation for August 2019. Thank you very much, and good morning.
Thank you very much, Yusek Mapa. Before we proceed to the open forum, press kits will be distributed. May we ask you to please remain seated. And for the open forum, please wait to be acknowledged before you ask your question, and please state your name and organization once you are acknowledged. We would also appreciate if you could limit your questions to the July 2019 inflation. We now open the floor for questions.
Hello, good morning, sir. Ma'ams, I'm Ben De Vera from Inquirer. Regarding rice prices, in July it posted a 2.3% decline year on year. How many months have we been seeing declines in rice prices? And is the 2.3% drop in prices that month the biggest in how many months or maybe years? I don't know. Thank you.
Yeah, I think for negative rate, I think this is the 3rd month that we are seeing the negative inflation for rice. Historically, I have to check the figure. But for this year, I think this is the 3rd month that we have negative, May, June, and July.
Did we attribute the lower rice prices, sir? Are there, besides the rice tarification law or the liberalization law, are there any other market developments that pushed rice prices lower?
Well, we have to ask NEDA for that. But relatively, rice in last year, because this is a year-on-year, the price of rice last year were really high at about this month. So we are seeing a drop, and we're expecting really a negative inflation.
Good morning. I'm Bruce Rodriguez from ABS-CBN News. Sir, good morning. In terms of the month-on-month figures, what trend are we seeing already for the headline number? Are we seeing, does it continue to also show continued deceleration? Thank you.
Our expectation is that it will continue to go down or at least stabilize at this number in the coming months.
Hello, good morning. I'm Shariza from Philippine Star. Sir, Mimaropa has consistently ranked as having the highest inflation among the regions. Sir, what characterizes the inflationary environment in Mimaropa, and are there other regions that share these characteristics?
As you observe, if you've been tracking the regional inflation for 2019, Mimaropa is quite an outlier, for this year. We checked by province. One particular reason that we're seeing is that because, of course, Mimaropa consists mainly of island provinces, so the transportation may have an impact on goods and services. But this could be validated on the ground. The reason why we are reporting Mimaropa is that some our LGUs could check and do something on this relatively higher inflation.